making their way to the ring. Talking about the world of professional wrestling, the team of Jeff Martin and the Trendsetter, Bryan Burga. The Jersey Wrecking Crew.
Oh, yeah.
There's a catchy tune.
4th of July weekend. We're approaching it. Killer tunes, man. Killer tunes.
Killer intro, man.
Oh,
That's
man.
what it is.
David Lee. You're the man.
Never did I think we'd have David Lee ever do voiceover for our intro.
Have you ever heard Westwood One's coverage? If you're ever in the car and you listen to the radio and you always hear, this is a presentation of Westwood One. You're listening to the NFL. And you get those chills. You know who's doing that intro? Guys, the guy that does our intro, Mr. David Lee.
Does an amazing job.
I don't think we ever
voice.
shared that. It's been a long time since we shared that.
No, I don't think we've not have been a long time. We've never shared that. What are you talking about? It's just been something we just threw out there, and it's like, man, every single time I hear it, I'm like, that's David Lee, man. David Lee.
Good guy. Good guy. I would suggest if anyone wants to do your intros, you want to be legit, have him do your intro for your podcast. Trendsetter, what is going on, man?
What is up, dude? We are in July, man.
Oh,
Unbelievable.
man, where did June go?
I don't know.
I mean, I'm looking. No, it's not under here.
It's not there, man. It's not
Boy.
there. Keep looking.
We are in July, folks. You're listening to the HSP Podcast. I am Jeff Martin, alongside my tag team partner, the one and only, the guy that puts up with me like no other can. He is a trendsetter, Bryan Burga. What's going on, man? How are you doing?
I'm doing good, dude. I'm excited for the fact there's going to be actually a day off for me, 4th of July, so I'm looking forward to that.
Hey, how's that? What are you going to do, man?
Wings.
You gonna barbecue? You gonna enjoy the apartment? What are you gonna do?
I'm going to enjoy the apartment, man. Sit back, relax. I mean, I'm still going to be doing stuff, so it's not like I'm just sitting back, laying down the couch and resting and watching Rocky marathon movie. Though that does sound pretty good. Because during 4th of July, there's always Stallone, Schwarzenegger.
True American patriots.
True American patriots. Exactly.
Nothing like Schwarzenegger is a true American patriot.
Exactly. So that's gonna be happening. But doing a lot of stuff, a lot of editing videos and putting stuff out there. Man. Some big announcements coming up.
Hey, can we announce that you're going to be at Exotica in July in Chicago?
I don't know if you have to ask me now. You've just announced now. I'm going to be in Chicago for Exotica.
All right.
So I got a lot of videos to push out before then. So you're going to be helping me with that. So I'm excited about that. It's cool. It's my first time traveling solo. You won't be joining me as my cameraman.
I'll be there in spirit, though.
Yeah, since I'll be going out there hustling, man, and it's going to be interesting. It's the first convention I've ever gone to.
After the pandemic.
In Chicago.
And after the pandemic. Chicago's awesome. We love it.
Yeah. Well, that's correction. First, the convention I've gone to this extent, we did wrestling for WrestleCon and stuff like that and things of that nature in Chicago for Starcast.
Yeah.
So, that's true. But, it's the first time doing this. So, it's going to be their 10-year anniversary. So, pretty cool that they said, hey, we'd love to have you.
You can't have a 10-year anniversary without the Trendsetter. You can't. So you're there. Look out for that. Follow us on our YouTube. Go to youtube.com/highspot podcast. Find the Adventure of the Trendsetter there. You won't be sorry. I can guarantee you that. And, of course, you can follow us on all our social media at Highspot Podcast, as you see there. And hit the subscribe button here and the notification bell on YouTube so you don't miss out on any of the brand new episodes. We got a special clips episode now available on the YouTube channel where you can click the best of our clips, too. Just added one there this past week. So you will find out why I believe that Sammy Guevara and MJF could be just like Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels. But this guy over here thinks it's going to be Rock and Austin. But definitely check that out, too. Trendsetter, I got to admit, man, there are a few times where main events, where matches, sometimes don't live up to the billing. But then there's times where the hype was so worth it. And this past Wednesday night on AEW Dynamite, the main event between MJF and Sammy Guevara not only was worth it, but, man, I got to tell you, we're at the halfway point almost now of the year. To me, that was the match of the year for HSP. I got to say it, man. There's no other way that you can cut it. This match, to me, was the match of the year. For now. Right now, this is it.
Well, no, you're right about that. It lived up to the billing. I unfortunately didn't see all of it, saw the beginning. The build-up to it was amazing, especially during Dynamite when they're teasing the main event. It was coming up. It kind of brought me back to the days, Jeff, where I used to watch Raw, and you knew what the main event was going to be. You knew what was coming up, right? They just kept teasing it and allowing you to build up that anticipation. And from what I could tell, listening to you and how you described it too, and looking at it from how people respond to it on Twitter and social media, which isn't always the best way to judge things and how they pan out, but everybody was pleased with this match.
Yeah, I mean, it was, without a doubt, Chris Jericho said one of the best matches he's ever seen, one of the best matches in AEW ever in its short history.
Yes.
And I got to tell you, man, Sammy Guevara, MJF, they're going to be fighting for years. I already said that. The crowd was into it. There was hype. I had goosebumps, Trendsetter. And Sammy Guevara is an athlete. MJF is a top heel. And then it was just a matchup that, it's not because of the emotion and just for that moment I took a step back, but I was like, man, this is so well done. The spots that Sammy Guevara did on MJF, that pile driver from the second rope, holy smokes, Trendsetter. It was a phenomenal match. Now, the only thing that I did not like, which to me, people could argue and say, hey, that's not the match here because of this, it was the interference by Shawn Spears, the chairman of the board. I did not like the outcome with the chair shot. Again, it just, to me, took a lot out of that match as far as wow, it really wouldn't hurt anybody to get that first victory over the other. But, man, the way it was done, I could have done without. But, again, it makes Shawn Spears more hateable, which is good. And then
it's hard to believe, right? At this stage right now. And then, how can we make Shawn Spears even more hateable? And then congratulations.
And then Wardlow attacks Jericho. So this whole Inner Circle versus Pinnacle thing isn't ending anytime soon. Nope. And I have to wonder, too, man, where was Jack Hager and Santana Ortiz? Where the heck were they, man? Because, oh, man, it just made me dislike the Pinnacle, which they're doing a heck of a job. This rivalry is a top rivalry in AEW right now.
And I love the fact that you said that, too. It makes me hate the Pinnacle even more. Yeah. They've accomplished their objective. It made us dislike Shawn Spears because I've disliked him ever since he appeared on television on AEW. Yeah. Congratulations. It's making the Pinnacle, again, seem like that annoying little fly that you can't swat away.
Yeah, you just want to swat with a swatter.
And it's working right now. Yeah. And that's the end of the match you're talking about, too. But what better way to do it, too? Because ultimately, it gives you a small taste of what the future holds. And these two are the future. I mean, MJF cut an amazing promo. I did see that one saying, people are claiming Sammy G as the future. And he said he would have to agree because right now, MJF considers himself the present. And that was a great promo done by MJF to help build up the main event. And I'm looking forward to this type of match. We had a small taste of it. Didn't end the way we wanted it to, but that was the point. We didn't get everything we wanted to get, and now it's going to make the fans even want this more to see a rematch between these two.
I got to tell you, too, man, it's the last match. It's the last event at Daly's Place until August because they're going to go back there one more time. But they're going on the road, man. Next week, they'll be in Miami for a Road Rager.
It's amazing, man. I didn't think that was going to happen. I think we're never going to see this. It seemed like an insurmountable conclusion to what we've been going through. And there's actually that light at the end of the tunnel. They're actually going back on the road.
Yeah, they're going to Miami and Road Rager. One of the matches you'll see would be El Idolo Andrade will make his debut against Matt Sydal. We love you, Matt. But, yeah, man, it was emotional, and that closed with that video package that if you go to their website or if you go to Twitter, you'll see it. They have it there pinned on their Twitter account, All Elite Wrestling AEW. That is emotional, man. I wrote this, man. They got 10 years worth of memories in 15 months.
They did, because it felt like 10 years.
It did, man. This pandemic.
When this whole thing started, Jeff, and you and I were going through this ourselves, trying to keep a straight face, and ultimately going through a little hiatus, too, because we only could take so much as well. Yeah. But AEW, I'll even throw WWE in here, Impact Wrestling, New Japan, all the promotions started coming around saying, you know what, we need to continually stay in the air. And looking back at it, yes, it felt like 10 years worth of memories, right? It's amazing what AEW has accomplished from this standpoint. Yeah. I heard somebody say, actually, our good friend Chris Van Vliet, who's been a friend, who's a friend of the show, who's been on here before. Hope to have him in the near future. Somebody say on one of his interviews with Ted DiBiase, pre-plug here for Chris, that if they can overcome COVID, there's nothing they can't overcome right now, too, because it was always the question of could they stand toe-to-toe with WWE. Right now, they've overcome COVID, so I don't think they're worried about the competition with WWE.
Yeah.
But you're right, it brings back a lot of memories, brings back a lot of moments that we didn't think would reach this point, but we're here right now. There's a great montage there. Music worked well. It was an amazing job. And it brought you back some fun memories that I didn't realize had happened because, again, it all goes by so fast.
So we want to hear from you guys, and we want you guys to contribute to the show. Give us your top 10 memories from Daly's Place for the last 15 months for AEW Dynamite. You can even add the pay-per-views as well. Really want to hear from you guys on this. I think we'll share our top 10 later on this weekend for the 4th of July.
Yeah,
maybe
definitely.
give us something to do, but it was really, to list your top 10 is going to be hard, and there's going to be a lot of memories that you're going to leave out, and you're also going to remember ones that you totally forgot about. You're like, oh, yeah, this happened too. So share them with us. We'll share our top 10 this weekend with you guys as well on all our social media. So that'll be fun there to have with you guys. And I also got emotional with the John Huber, Brodie Lee stuff, man. It just seems unreal. It just seems that he worked so hard to get where he was at, and then for him not to be here, it's just still surreal. John Huber, rest in peace, and we miss you, man.
Yeah, I mean, you said it perfectly, man. The fact that he's not here after everything he's gone through, after everything the fans, and it's not just the fans, too, but what really touched my heart, some people question if I have one or not, but I do.
Oh, you're not heartless.
Yes, you think I'm heartless
You're a
sometimes.
lovable bastard.
I'll keep my thoughts on you to myself. Thank you.
Yes, please. This is a family show.
Exactly. Although we can't say expletives here on the show. But no, it made you look at like everyone within the business, within the industry, say such positive things about him. That there was anything negative about him, that he was very impactful in their lives as much as the fans were impacted by him. So that really touched my heart and really, shattered it a little bit too, knowing that, it's unfortunate somebody who worked, like you said, so hard can't enjoy at this point. But when you see his son and how he interacts with everybody from AEW to WWE, and you just know there's a piece of him still around. So Brodie Lee, we miss you, man.
Oh, we definitely do, man. And at the end too, again, it's just the crowd was so into it. They're yelling AEW, and it's just, again, looking forward to get back on the road and these guys doing what they do best, and that's entertaining the audience.
It's kind of weird too, right?
Nationwide.
Because it's been going on, and we've seen WWE starting to promote it. Now AEW is promoting it. Can we go back to that? Can we go back to that sense of normalcy? I mean, you look at the crowds,
if you look
like
at the NBA
finals.
Yeah, if you look at not the finals, but if you look at the playoffs right now, it just seems like everyone's probably taking caution. But I mean, we got to get back to life as normal.
No,
man.
I know, but I look at those highlights, whether it be on SportsCenter or you're looking at stuff like YouTube clips from AEW and WWE. It's like you had those glimpses. We're going to see at SummerSlam when we saw WrestleMania. It was like, wow, it's getting that feeling back of what we had lost during this whole time and how we kind of took it for granted. So it's amazing that I'm seeing it again, and it's kind of like in a blink of an eye, although you just said 10 years of stuff within a montage because it felt like that.
Yeah,
it's felt that long, but in the same respects, it's felt short too.
Yeah, definitely. And one thing that everyone's talking about too was as they closed, we had good old JR refer to AEW Dynamite as WWE Dynamite. Now, listen, when you've been with a company for over 20 years, it's tough to get that out of you, And listen, let's be honest. I have nothing against Jim Ross. He's the greatest of all time. Okay, if you want to argue with that, fine. But to me, he's the greatest of all time. He's been on Raw, so many defining moments in wrestling. He's been the voice of. Hey, he's going to slip up fine. I mean, you can bury and pile on Jim Ross. We understand his fastball's not as fast as it used to be, right? He's not Jacob deGrom anymore.
It's a changeup nowadays.
Yeah, exactly. But live with it, man. But what bothers me the most is apologists that come on in there and defend Jim Ross. He's a big boy. He came on and said, I made a mistake. I own it. And that's it, and move on. And he's not going to get fired. He's not quitting. He loves what he does. I think he moved to Jacksonville, actually. He bought a house in Jacksonville, or as I thought I heard in the broadcast. But he's a big boy. Yeah. He owned it. Stop apologizing. Stop with the apologies for the kiss asses. Oh, he's the GOAT. And we know he is. Sometimes the GOATs slip up, and age does that to you. So, he's owned it. We don't need apologists. We don't need people kissing his ass. And I don't think he would like that either. I mean, fine, if he's your friend, you're going to stick up for him, fine. But don't be making excuses and whatever. He's owned it. Just stop, man. It was, it was just like, so, like, here we go. Here come the people kissing his ass, making excuses. The man owned it. And you know what? Yeah, it was fun. Even the Young Bucks kind of made fun of it, too, on their bio, where next week they're going to wrestle WWE Dynamite.
Exactly.
And fine. It was a GIF moment, right?
Listen, what I've heard a lot of people say...
The kiss asses are ridiculous, man. He owned it. Stop kissing his ass.
Okay, but what I've heard a lot of people say, too, is that as much as they're trying to make a joke out of it, too, and to make a light of the situation, which I agree you should, because it was a funny thing that happened, I'm sure, although I have never met Jim Ross, but from people who are close to him, are saying that he probably felt 10 times worse than anybody could ever, say anything negative about him on social media. Mm-hmm. As somebody who's done as much as he's accomplished in his career of professional wrestling, and what he's done, he made a mistake. A lot of people want to use the excuse that, he's over the hill, he's done, he should retire. At the end of the day, nobody can say someone should retire unless they're ready to go. And JR doesn't need to do this. He's doing this out of a passion and love that he hasn't had in a while since, WWE has kind of mistreated him to a certain degree and pushed him to the side, making the Michael Cole, for example, a new voice of the WWE. Yeah. So for that, I don't think people are making a big deal of it as it is. For those who are really negative and are saying JR should retire, guys, just
grow
move
the
on.
Grow the F up, man.
Not just grow the F up.
He's built a resume. He's built a resume.
They're entitled
a resume to stay.
Jeff, they're entitled to their opinion.
Yes,
but at the end of the day, if that opinion doesn't matter to the individual, like Jim Ross or to us, it's just an opinion. That's all it is. So when you have people, like you just said, you mentioned they're the kiss asses, right? I like to say, listen, like you said, he's a big boy. Let him handle himself. If he wanted to publicly apologize on Twitter and say sorry, he has every right to do it.
And he said, I own it.
At the end of the day, when I see these people also attack the people on social media, listen, there are two sides to it as well. Mm-hmm. It's the people who go out and defend it, and the other people that are very negative and nitpick at every single thing. And for people to say you're not a true fan, that's another opinion. And for other people to say, what have you done, and throw it back in the face of the people who are the naysayers, the negative people, listen, they're always going to be there. They're always going to say it. But for individuals that I've known and I've watched, who I highly respect, and I have nothing against what they just said, but again, you're just adding fuel to the fire because, yes, you're upset, you're angry, and now you're throwing it back and pointing the finger at their face. Well, be careful, because it's going to poke back at you as well. So just see both sides to it. It's a joke. It's an opinion. And if you are here to defend Jim Ross, have fun with it. It's just it's a mistake. It's a mistake, and it's not the first he's ever made. It won't be the last. Yeah. It's not just Jim Ross. Everybody makes a mistake. Just move on with it. Have fun with it. If people want to dwell on it and keep nitpicking at it, that's their problem. It's not Jim Ross's. It's not our problem. At the end of the day, I laughed hysterically when it happened because, oh, wow, he still thinks he's working for WWE. And I said to you, man, Jericho, Tony Schiavone must be like, oh, man, Jim, how could you have said that? But it's over.
Chuckle. It's Jim Ross.
Yeah, but it's over. It's over.
Get over it, guys. And one thing I want to talk about too that you brought up too, as far as like this thing where people are throwing like errors in people's faces and calling for jobs and taking it personal and making everything into a war.
Yeah, that's what it is nowadays.
I didn't think about this too, but I think it's such a made-up war that I think they want to go back to Attitude Era so much, where it's WCW and WWE, WWF, and they want that so much. They hear about it, especially the younger fans now. They hear about this Monday Night War that you can see on Peacock, cheap plug there, but you can see this, and you can be like, wow, they really hated each other. Wow, they wanted to put each other out of business. This is not the same thing, man.
No,
this is not. When NXT was going head-to-head with AEW, it wasn't a war. It wasn't anything like that. There's no reason to. These companies can coexist, and why wouldn't you want these companies to succeed? I get the poke in the bear a little bit. That's fun. It's good. It's nice. It's fun at some times where you can talk about it. But when you're the company, you're constantly, just poking that bear, which is WWE. Sometimes, again, it's fun. But like Eddie Kingston to me, and I'm glad that I'm not really a fan of Bully Ray, but I got to agree with him. He called him out too. He was like, shut the F up, man. Stay in your lane, basically, because he just comes out as a bitter guy, and I'm not a fan of Eddie Kingston. I'm telling you right now, he's good on the mic. But, I mean, the dude waddles to the ring. He's got 2 bad knees. He's out of shape. And no way was he WWE material. And that's just quite honest. That's not something that they want. And he knows he's never going to get rehired by them or hired, or they're not even going to take a look at him. But
yeah,
he did
that goes with the expression, don't burn bridges. He's
burned a bridge.
No, he's blowing it up because he knows he's never going to WWE. So,
but it would, like I said, if somebody else wants to call out WWE, like they said, like if Cody Rhodes wants to, take a sledgehammer to a throne, so be it. But Eddie Kingston, it just loses meaning to me. I think that's the best part that Billy Ray said. It just loses meaning because they really kind of fell on deaf ears.
It fell on deaf ears, and in my opinion, too, when you have a scenario of what Eddie Kingston did, right? Using him as the example here, since that's what we're doing here. But ultimately, at the end of the day, you have to worry about yourself. The mere fact that here's the thing: we're past the days nowadays where you would even mention, another promotion. You'd be, that place down in Atlanta or that place up in New York City, talking about the WWE, right, or talking about WCW. Back then, during that time that you and I lived through, which was an amazing time. That was what you did. Yeah. Now it's a different world we live in. Social media, the internet is 10 times bigger than once was, even 20 times bigger than when it was during the Monday Night Wars. It's a different world now. So it's okay if you acknowledge the quote-unquote competition, but you start taking jabs and slights and things like that. It's all good fun.
Yeah, sometimes
but
it's
Eddie
fun.
just comes off as bitter, and it loses the translation, like Bully said and what you mentioned, too, because Eddie's coming in from his personal standpoint of how he dislikes them. No, it's that you try to make yourself better every single day, which causes the other group, which is WWE or any other company like Impact or New Japan, to get better and want to get better.
Yeah,
and we ultimately, all as the fans, and this is where what I find interesting too, you're talking about the division. Oh, you're an AEW person, you can't be a WWE person. We're past that. It's no more WCW and WWE. You guys can be fans of anything you want, and it doesn't make you less of a person because that's what we always wanted. It's always the adage I've used time and time again, the saying where it comes with Baskin Robbins, 31 flavors. Yeah. Why wouldn't you want to have more options? Why would you want to see another company go down and fail and have them do terrible? Because at the end of the day, that ruins it for everybody else.
I just find it really amusing that there is such a listen, loyalty is great. You have loyal fans. AEW fans are loyal. WWE fans are loyal. They won't go cross over and check out the channel. But you're missing great wrestling on AEW. If you're going to be closed-minded. And, again, you're going to miss entertaining stuff on WWE sometimes if you watch Friday Night SmackDown, which is why I want to get to the return of the Rated R superstar, Edge. He comes back, basically will face Roman Reigns at Money in the Bank, Trendsetter. It is going to be a really good match for the Universal Championship. Listen, I was surprised. A lot of people were saying that he would be back in time for SummerSlam and that his opponent would be Seth Rollins. So, okay. And then he comes out after Roman Reigns is going to make this huge announcement. There are no more contenders, Trendsetter. Let's be honest, on SmackDown, there really are no more people there to challenge Roman Reigns. So Edge comes out, and now there's going to be a title match. There's still a way for Seth Rollins to maybe interject himself and still find a way to rival Edge at SummerSlam. But I'm not going to complain about this one. Plus, this is the first one-on-one match ever between Roman Reigns and Edge because we all know at WrestleMania, it was Daniel Bryan also in there in a triple threat. So now we're going to see the one-on-one match with Edge and Roman Reigns.
Well, yeah, that's what we always wanted to see, right? The mere fact that Daniel Bryan snuck his way in there and took Edge's spot. I mean, that irritated me beyond belief, Jeff, because Edge had rightfully earned. No, you laugh about that, right? But it's the truth. The guy won the Royal Rumble. And just because we have nothing to do and nothing for Daniel Bryan, hey, let's just throw him in and make it a triple threat. I was so annoyed by it. Now, the match itself, Jeff, when we saw it in Tampa, was amazing. It was an amazing match, and how Roman Reigns dominated in that cover on both Daniel Bryan and Edge for the 1, 2, 3 is like, dominating. Wow, what a moment there, right? Talk about WrestleMania moments. That was a moment for Roman Reigns' career. But I was so upset for the fact that why can't we just have a one-on-one match? We wanted this story, and then eventually in the middle of the story, Edge, who was the person who people were going to root for, were actually rooting against them because we threw Daniel Bryan in there. You know, I am so sick and tired of Daniel Bryan. He ruined it for AJ Styles and his Intercontinental title run. No, I mean seriously. This
I
is
know.
A shoot.
This is passion
for him
here.
saying he's a coward and he's not somebody who wants to defend the title every single day. Well, where are you, Daniel Bryan? Honestly, you're doing the exact same thing when you were champion. You changed the title into this wooden, whatever the hell thing it was, environmental title. You didn't want to give Kofi Kingston the time of day. Oh, but we're supposed to ignore that ever happened, right? And then you interject yourself just because you feel you deserve it. Who says that you deserve a title shot, Daniel Bryan? I didn't think you deserved a title shot. I can't speak for Jeff. I'm sure a lot of people wanted to see just Edge and Roman Reigns, and you had to sneak your way in just because now it seems like the wrestlers have all the power, right? Where's the authority figure? I'm not talking about Triple H and Stephanie. Where's the authority figure? What happened to rankings here, for God's sakes? And now we're finally going to see the match that we should have seen at WrestleMania. So, yes, I am so happy that Edge is back. But you know what? This should have been a SummerSlam. This should have been a Money in the Bank match. But you're right. We are losing people for Roman Reigns to face. Who else is out there? And this is a scary thing that's happening right now. I mean, it's not scary because I'm sure WWE is thinking about this. But it's a legit argument there. Who else is going to be out there? Because people are like, well, just enjoy it. Just be a fan, enjoy it. Well, you have to kind of think about it because I'm like, okay, well, we have Edge here. And, he is almost towards the tail end of his career. Do we have any more guys in the back? I mean, The Rock's not back there. Cena's not back there. They're in Hollywood, California. They're making movies. John Cena's promoting Fast 27. It's a legitimate argument. It's a legitimate, and if you're telling me that the answer is going to be Seth Rollins, like we've seen this before, are you serious? We're going to have Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns. We're teasing that to happen. I don't know how I feel about that, Jeff. How do you feel about that?
Wow, what passion! What just amazing passion by you, Trendsetter. I'm impressed, man. Well thought out, concise. See what happens when you kind of like tone down the emotions. You're able to project your feelings.
I was toned down.
Yeah, well,
I think that was toned down.
Well, man, but again, though, back to your question there, Trendsetter. I think it's a serious problem, just like you said. Who is going to me, this is a simple solution to get you to Money in the Bank, right? But where exactly are you going towards SummerSlam? And now, a lot of people think it's going to be John Cena, but that's fine. But these are like little fill-in-the-gaps to sell out stadiums, most likely, and there's not a legitimate guy. And listen, it's about making stars, and I don't want to flip to AEW, but you look at Jungle Boy, he's a star in the making, man. He's got that look. He's got the vibe. He's getting the rub from Kenny Omega and, all these other wrestlers.
Jericho,
50 and 0. Listen, I don't know.
Not 50 and 0. He has 50 wins in AEW.
50 wins. 50.
Yeah,
first person to 50.
He's had losses.
First person to 50. I'm sorry. Yeah. First person to 50. I don't know how accurate that is. I'm surprised, actually, that he's that he's the first person to get there, but okay. But I mean, so you see the stars that are being made. You can see in WWE. I mean, yeah, you got your AJ Styles, you have your Seth Rollins, you got your Roman Reigns. It's Cesaro to a point, but that looks like that stopped that push because it was like a reward for signing. Where are these other stars? Like Kevin Owens is there, but we've already seen Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns, right? I mean, who else? I mean...
Well, I can answer your question for you, Jeff, in terms of who else, right? All you have to do is look at NXT. Those are your future guys to face Roman Reigns. But here's the difficulty that you and I have talked about through, it seems like, eternity, right?
Yeah.
You have stars there. And here's the interesting thing about NXT that a lot of people, maybe they notice it or they don't, but I know I generally do notice it. Before, the concept of NXT, Jeff, was the fact that you're going to bring individuals into the industry, whether they were young up-and-comers in the independent scene trying to make a name for themselves, or they're people from like the world of football and entertainment that wanted to pursue this and make this a living, right? Yep. So that's why you built the Performance Center.
Definitely.
And you're going to build these individuals into stars. But when I looked at the inception of NXT and then how it developed and it became popular and it became its own brand, right? I started looking at the roster like, wait a minute. You have Shinsuke Nakamura, you have Finn Balor, you have Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, you have Samoa Joe, Adam Cole, you have guys now like Karrion Kross, you have guys like I'm missing a lot of them.
Bronson Reed.
These people have made names for themselves. These guys aren't rookies.
No.
They're just waiting for the next level. So it's not developmental in the sense that these people know how to work. Maybe they don't know how to work television time like WWE production is. But I'm like, these guys should be the next installments in WWE. But what's happened? Well, we've seen individuals like Shinsuke, Finn, Kevin Owens, Asuka, these
amazing
Black. I can't believe I forgot about him. Aleister Black, who has been released from WWE because they didn't know what to do with him. Are you kidding me? Didn't get him, but didn't know what to do with this talent. Andrade, I'll throw Andrade in there too, right?
Yeah.
Selena Vega was an amazing pairing right there, and you break that up. Yeah. I don't understand why you and I are discussing, not just you and I, but several people are discussing. Wait, when you're done with Edge and Seth, wait, what's out there? We know The Rock might be in the foreseeable future. We know Cena's there, but is that it? Is that all we can have?
That was WCW's problem. That was WCW's problem. They were plugging all the part-timers in there, putting them in the roles where you had guys like Guerrero, Jericho, I dare say Benoit, Saturn, Malenko there that were there to plug in that main event stuff, but they didn't. Yeah. And that's something you're going to have to look at in the next year and see, like, I just can't get everybody because is no guarantee that you can make a star out of them or at least mold them in the vision that you want to. Although all these guys could be stars. If you look at the released roster of the WWE the last year or so after the pandemic and you take a look at that, you can build another roster, another show, another promotion out of those.
I can't believe I forgot to add Braun Strowman in there. It's like that was
Braun Strowman
too,
right? I don't think he was done. I just think he was booked horribly where you thought he was done. And
it was due to booking, which made him done because they had booked him in such a poor way that it took so long to put the title on him. And then when it was done and he was not in that picture, they didn't know what else to do with him. So their simple solution was, we're going to release him. Yeah. So hopefully with the release, I mean, you hate to say hopefully, right? But with the releases, they've limited their roster smaller where now they can go to NXT and do it. But I don't know, their track record hasn't been good with taking NXT talent and converting them into stars.
And where a perfect segue here is that Vince McMahon is heading down this week, as reported by Fightful.com, that he is going to be there to take a look and evaluate maybe future stars, or he's going to find a way to probably F them up again. And who else can I F up here? Who else can I, bring up, build them, be tired with them in 3 months, and then release them? Obviously, what do you think is going to be the first thing that Vince notices when he makes it to the Performance Center? I got to ask you this because I know what it is. What do you think is the first thing where he's going to walk in there and be like, God damn, pal,
his gigantic cup of coffee about this big.
What is the first thing you think he's going to notice when he gets to the Performance Center?
Wow, it's a pretty nice place because he's probably never walked in it.
All the weirdos that are stalking the NXT building? No, I don't think so.
No, I don't.
He's going to realize how many small guys he's got on the roster.
I was about to say, he's going to realize how undersized a lot of people in the main roster are and how a lot of them do a lot of the same thing. But here's the thing that I've always, again, we could spend a whole show talking about this, right? And that could probably be one of our things that we do. But, with any great promoter, right, you run in the situation where everyone's going to call you out at some point. Mm-hmm. They call Vince a genius for so many years. But then they'll be like, oh, well, look what's going on right now and look how unhappy certain people are with the product. And that's fair to say because you're a fan. It's fair to say that you're unhappy with certain things. And there's always people who are going to be complaining about something. But you have to also be available to listen to your audience and be open-minded that way. Yeah. Now, Vince has been very stubborn on many things, and a lot of them have worked out pretty well in terms of making the move of going the route with Stone Cold Steve Austin, making the scenario of, screwing Bret Hart from the WWE Championship, which created the Mr. McMahon character, and he ran with it. The John Cena situation, how many times did they want to get rid of John Cena, and Vince stuck with his guns, and John Cena became, if not an equal a level star as Stone Cold, even greater than that in terms of what he has accomplished in his career.
Stuck it out with Roman Reigns.
Roman Reigns as well. Yeah. But then the scenarios, too, where when they come out publicly, and I'll still go back to that program with the Vince, Shane, Stephanie, and Triple H went out and say, we're going to be listening now to you guys. Well, apparently that's not really the case because when you have a situation, I'll use Aleister Black as a quick example, and then you can move on from this if you want to. But when you have a talent like that, as intriguing and as interesting as he is, and so many things you can do with him in terms of his multi-level, multiverse of what your vision is of him and what his vision is of himself, and you basically don't have him on TV, and then he finally comes back, and you've had good discussions and conversations with him, and then you take him off TV again for another 2-3 weeks and eventually let him go. To me, that is not a great evaluator of talent. And when Vince goes there, I'm sure a lot of people are going to be intimidated. I know I the hell would be intimidated if Vince is walking in the Performance Center and I'm practicing. But you're right. He's probably going to see all these individuals who are talented beyond belief, but he's going to see one particular thing I think they still stuck in his mind. Wow, these guys are small.
Size matters to Vince. So I agree, and that's why I brought it up, that's the first thing he's going to notice. He's going to be like, Shawn, Hunter, like, okay, that's why I think he's going to be underwhelmed. Now, you see a guy like Austin Theory, which I don't like the role he's playing, and it seems like this is going to be like his typecast into this kind of like, aw shucks, guy who's not, who's a little dim-witted, let's be honest, right? Who's a sidekick to Johnny Gargano. He's a 6'4", 250+ guy who's a sidekick to Johnny Gargano. I mean, let's think about this, right? I mean, and again, I love Johnny Gargano. I'm not trying to demean anybody here, but that's a guy, Austin Theory, that I said from day one when he signed, that is your future. That is John Cena 2.0, and you can't do, let's be honest. There was other outside circumstances that got Austin Theory to the point where he is right now, but that's just one example that I'm talking about. Austin Theory, to me, is a John Cena 2.0, and he can be your face of your company for like the next 15 years because he's in his 20s, early 20s?
Yeah.
That guy is a guy there that you should look at and be like, listen, we didn't do anything with him in the main roster. Yes, he had his screw-ups, but you know what? Time has passed. Time to, time heals all wounds and stuff like that. So we can give him a second chance. Let's bring him aboard. Now, there was rumors that Karrion Kross and Bronson Reed are very close to going up to the main roster. Bronson Reed lost the North American title, to Isaiah Swerve Scott. Congratulations, by the way. Love Isaiah Swerve Scott. And, they're going to be called up to the main roster. Those are two bigger guys. And when Karrion Kross signed, I said this could be the face of your company again for years to come. They're there. You just have to do the right thing. It's not like the cupboard's bare. It's not. LA Knight, too, the guy on the mic skills.
Yet it feels like it's bare, and that's the unfortunate thing, Jeff.
It's like, yeah, you're exactly. There's like this, where are they going to find them? They signed a bunch of people, on NXT UK, on NXT. It was like, that was the place to go, and some of these guys got lost in the shuffle. But the cupboard is not bare. You should be able to take from NXT, and they should fit just fine on the main roster, especially when you're cutting people, when you're cutting guys like Aleister Black, when you're cutting guys like Braun Strowman. These guys should fit. Adam Cole should fit technically, but we all know, I don't know if he's going to win over Vince McMahon.
Yeah, I mean, and the funny thing that you mentioned earlier before that about, look, he's going to walk into a building full of undersized guys, not excluding guys, for example, like Karrion Kross or Bronson Reed, for example, are going to be moving up to the main roster. But then I'm like, well, Shawn Michaels wasn't an imposing figure, but he was able to win over through some type of it factor. I can't tell you. I think Adam Cole does have that it factor, but it depends on the individual. And Vince's perspective is still the same way that it's been. Because this was the same guy, Jeff, that told AJ Styles, we have a lot of guys that do the same thing you do. What can you bring to the table? And I'm thinking to myself,
could you imagine if AJ Styles would have not worked out? That one to me would have been like, you really need to reevaluate yourself if you're not going to make AJ Styles work.
Yeah, but again, it had nothing to do with Vince. It had more to do with, I give most of the credit to AJ Styles and him proving the fact that, yes, a lot of guys can do the things that I do, but there's a reason why it's called the Phenomenal One. It's not just through his moveset. It's through his psychology in the ring, his ability to be that guy who's that pit bull mentality, as he talked about in one of his documentaries in the whole 24/7 thing on W Network, that he gave that ability where the fans could connect with him and root for him, even if he was in the ring facing guys like Brock Lesnar. That it was still believable.
Right.
How believable is Adam Cole? We'll see.
All right, so here's the biggest misconception I've ever heard of when they talk about Shawn Michaels, and I think I don't know if they talked about it on the biography or anything like that, but this is something that it's hard to fathom. Shawn Michaels, to me, yes, he was 6'1", something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, but to me, he wasn't small. He always to me had a cut up body. He wasn't thin. I mean, Bret Hart too. Bret Hart was 6'1", 6'2", maybe, but he had a good tone. Some of these guys, have just a thin bodies. I think that's what makes them look smaller. To me, Shawn Michaels, when he was overweight and he was doing his thing, whatever, right before the ladder match or whatever, and he had gained, he ballooned, he was 245.
Yeah.
So he wasn't, like, small, you know? So, like, that's a huge misconception about these guys because you put Shawn Michaels next to a Gargano or Adam Cole, it's light years. Shawn Michaels looks like a heavyweight.
He looks like a heavyweight when you compare it to the NXT roster that you're talking about, or the people in the Performance Center. But when you compare Shawn to what he dealt with during the times of like Vader, Diesel, Razor, he was like an NXT guy. So that's where the comparison lies. He from our standpoint,
I always thought he looked cut.
From our standpoint, yes. Physique-wise, body-wise, yes. He's 6'1", 6'2", maybe in a good day. Yeah. But that's still small considering the size you have to be a Hogan, a Warrior.
Yeah.
You know, even Savage had that problem too throughout his career too, where he had that look about him, but he was undersized when it came compared to guys like Hogan.
Yeah. Yeah. But again, I just think that these guys, though, like even a HBK back in, let's say what would you say his peak physique was? Would you say Mania 14?
14 with a bad back, but again, even prior to that, like around 97 through 99, that's when Shawn looked his best.
Gargano and Cole could never match that.
No, they couldn't. No,
and that's why I think Vince, sees them, and I think that's why Triple H and Hunter appreciate the wrestling skills. But Vince McMahon, I don't think would ever, be inclined to be like fully invested in somebody like that unless the crowd is begging for it, like with Daniel Bryan. Unless the crowd really begs for you, he'll listen to the crowd. But it's going to be very hard to win Vince over, Trendsetter. I really believe that.
Yeah, well, I don't disagree with you on that end, but I'm just saying that there is talent there. And if you're talking about a scenario where you have a roster full of talent and you're basically just recycling the same things, like, hey, I love Drew McIntyre, but there's only so many times you see Drew McIntyre against the same individual. Yeah. Now, for example, the last couple of weeks have been interesting because he's been headed in for Money in the Bank, which he advanced to, but see guys like Riddle, see guys like Drew work together for the first time on that type of show. That's great to see. That's what we want. Yeah. Give other people opportunities. Let's see what other people have. Put them in that spotlight. Let them fail. That's all I'm saying. Let them fail. Let themselves fail. Don't just give them an opportunity and just because they did something that you didn't like, they're already typecast and drawn a certain way, and then you're not using them anymore.
Like
that's not fair.
I was begging for a match like Ricochet and Johnny Drip Drip, and man, that's all I want. I want matches like that. Yeah. That was great. It actually displayed Ricochet's ability, man. Ricochet can do so much. And in that match, finally, it highlighted and accentuated just what kind of wrestler he can be. And Johnny Drip Drip, I can't believe I said Johnny
And you
Drip
said
Drip.
the one key word when you talked about that match with me. You're like, just let Ricochet be Ricochet.
Just let Ricochet be Ricochet. Well, let him wear the pants. I don't like him in jeans. But, whatever. It's still an improvement to what we've seen.
Exactly.
He's not on a main event. And so, that's that. But, again, Great American Bash is going to be a special on USA, NXT. I love to see these old WCW names come back, and I'm glad that at least NXT is using them. All right, fine, WWE doesn't want to use them anymore. I like the in-your-house themes. I like that. It shows you don't need a pay-per-view every month. That's what I love about AEW, too. They don't need a pay-per-view every month, so that's good.
No, they don't.
The Great American Bash is Tuesday, and one match I'm looking forward to, Trendsetter, is, of course, besides Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly, I'm so intrigued on LA Knight and Cameron Grimes because the loser, if Cameron Grimes loses, he has to beat LA Knight's Butler, and just on that, there is no way that Cameron Grimes is beating LA Knight because there's going to be so much fun doing angles with them with Cameron Grimes being his Butler. I cannot wait. It reminds me of Seinfeld.
It reminds me of Seinfeld. It's because we kind of joked about that a lot before it's even happened, and then when you look at it and you're like, oh my goodness, look at that. But what I think, if this was on WWE regular programming, I probably think this is the dumbest idea in the world. But because it's on NXT, I'm actually interested in this because NXT does a great job. What you and I have talked before last week and several months prior to this, it's that, a lot of people are always interested in the quick, the quick gratification of something. They're actually developing things which, like you said before, people are like, oh, he should have won the $1 million title.
Yeah.
okay, then we wouldn't have the scenarios. That's just an amazing thing, and I'm actually, believe it or not, interested in seeing that. But NXT does a great job of extending these storylines and really creating that chase where you want the end to be what you want it to be, but you're not going to get it right away. So that's what I like about it.
Yeah, we'll be live tweeting the Great American Bash on Tuesday night, Trendsetter. So I want to bring up this new little segment we have here that we'll bring here from time to time. It's called Going Viral with HSP Trendsetter. Let's play the first video, and it's long enough where you can do some play-by-play here. So I want to get your take on this.
Okay, what are we doing here?
All right, so we're doing the ladder match. We're doing the ladder match here.
Yeah,
so
okay.
let's play that ladder match. Of course, a lot of people have seen it, and let's just do some play-by-play and just get your thoughts here of the ladder match.
Oh God!
All right. He's trying to fix that light bulb that's out on top. No, he's not. He's actually going to jump off of that.
It's unstable right there.
What is he thinking?
The ref's holding it now. Oh my God.
Oh, why? Why Trendsetter? Is that what we have to do nowadays? We have to impress like that. We have to do stuff. Guy named Laser, ladder match, had to go for surgery for his hip.
Wow.
He'll make his next scheduled, his next scheduled appearance on July 2nd, and he's gonna present a hardcore cup. Dude, like, I don't mind trying to one up each other, but these ladder spots, this other kind of wrestling that you're seeing out there, what are these guys thinking, man? I mean,
well, I know what they're thinking. They're thinking I have to do these types of things, these types of spots to get attention, to draw me and separate me from the rest. And that's not necessarily the case. You don't really have to do it. What honestly, I'll be honest with you. When I first saw this now, I'm like, oh my goodness, what a dumb spot. That is ridiculous, idiotic. Yeah. That guy deserved what he got. Yeah. But now I'm looking at it too, and people are shaking their head like, what is he thinking? How is that possible that he thought that was a good idea? But I'm curious here that you saw how many people were there, ready to catch him. Now, he did jump not so well and was short on his mark, but are you telling me there's nobody there that could have reached out and tried to help him and prevent him? Granted, yeah, if you did, you might separate his shoulder. They're all lined up. Let's go back again then if we should see this again. Go. How many people are actually there on the floor? Now, I can't see it from this angle, but there seems to be a good amount.
Probably 6 dudes.
It's not one guy catching this guy. There's not one guy catching it. If it was one guy,
he
I
goes
couldn't
through.
understand.
It was 6 dudes. But again, though,
he's like,
there's no turning back. He's like, there's no turning back. I'm a goner, and now he's had to have hip surgery. I feel for the guy, but man, that was stupid, man. I mean, that of course goes viral. Every wrestling site, everyone picks that up. That is just crazy, man. And just luckily that he's okay. Listen, AEW Saturday night. Big match between Kenny Omega and Jungle Boy, or should I say Jungle Man, because post-match, let's find out, Trendsetter, who was really the winner of that night. I mean, look at that. I mean, Jungle Boy.
Do we have to look at it?
Jungle Man obviously is going out with Anna Jay, and she's, of course, dealing with injury. She of the Dark Order. But look at the hand placement. Perfect. I mean, obviously, Jungle Boy is Jungle Man. And kudos to you, man, because let's be honest. The real winner, you may have lost that matchup with Kenny Omega, but you're the true winner, man, because you get to go home with Anna Jay. Congrats, my friend. Congrats.
Not a bad consolation prize right there. Nah, it seems like her shoulder's working fine. I think that's what we had. She had a separated shoulder. It seems to be working all right.
Exactly. She can do the wraparound there.
Yeah, if we go back to that real quick, it got cut off, but we might want to take a look at Jungle Boy's hand. It's perfect. It's trending south a little bit.
It's gentlemanlike, because you could cup it, But he was like, you know what? I'm a gentleman. I'll just do it on the side.
Why do we instinctively go as guys? Honestly, why do we instinctively go?
Well, I'm an ass man, so I would definitely go for it first.
Wow.
Yeah. It's just there, Like It's perfect.
Yeah, I can't call him Jungle Boy anymore. The Jungle Boy has grown into a man.
All right, and because this happened last week, because we didn't get on, of course, the show posted late, the Tour de France. The only reason I even saw the Tour de France was because of Lance Armstrong, and he ended up being a piece of garbage and a fraud. Yeah. So I kind of stopped paying attention to the Tour de France because, let's be honest, it's the Tour de France. But I mean, when you see something like this, you gotta say, "Oh my!" So basically, riding your bikes, and someone decides to pull a sign out, look at me, and boom, everyone. It's funny now, but this woman was arrested for causing this. If you look at the aerial view here,
man.
It caused a whole pileup, Trendsetter. What is going on here? Maybe it's good that people, stay home and not go back to these things. Look at that.
No, because if they stay home, we
look
wouldn't
at that
have
pileup right there. Oh, my God.
If they stayed home, we wouldn't have this amazing thing to look at right now, Jeff.
Wow.
That is hilarious.
Let's get out of that. Let's get it.
Hopefully nobody got injured, obviously, on that. Too bad. Definitely a lot of scrapes from hitting the pavement. And a lot of leg scrapes and arm scrapes.
Basically, what they wrote here, let's see what they wrote. What they meant here was a les opi omi. And that was basically, come on, granddad or granny. Was it really worth it?
To her, it was. Was it worth it? No. But to her, it was. And again, if it wasn't for this sweet little lady, as they call her,
she's in jail now, folks.
Yeah, I didn't get a good shot of her there.
She got arrested.
But,
hey, man, she's getting a lot of lawsuits. Oh man, only reason why you turn on the Tour de France. How's my French? De France.
Well, you've done a lot of it by saying Les Champions for Chris Jericho. So, yeah. It's actually pretty good.
All right, Trendsetter. So, listen, hope everybody has a 4th of July. That's going to be the show again. Tell us your top 10 memories for AEW Dynamite. We definitely want to hear from you. You'll hear from us eventually this weekend. We'll give you the top 10 there, too. And also follow us on all our social media at HSP Podcast, the YouTube channel, youtube.com/HSP Podcast. Click the notification bell and follow all our episodes. We'll be posting this one Friday. Happy 4th of July, guys. And also want to make a note, too, here that this one touches home, too, and this is about family here. Personal friend of ours and member of the crew, a huge member of the crew, had an unfortunate accident this weekend where basically her house caught on fire and basically she lost everything. And we here want to support and do everything possible for her to get her life back. Honestly, she lost everything. Luckily, she was fine. Her daughter is fine. And we just want to ask you guys to please show your support. Please make a donation to spotfund.com. We're going to leave the link at the bottom of the description so you guys can make a donation. Whether it's $10, $20, $30, we would really appreciate it. We definitely want you guys to support it. So if you guys can actually go to, you can take a look at the, there's a picture there of her house and everything like that. So this is legit, folks. Please donate today. Go to spotfund.com. I mean, literally, she is a great person, a big part of the show. We love including her, too. And Lisa, we got your back. Definitely, please donate this. We will have the link at the bottom. And, again, we got your back. You're part of the crew for life, and we will help you get through this. Guys, please make your donations.
No, Jeff, you're right about that. It is a great cause. We don't really do a lot of stuff in terms of promoting things like that, but like Jeff had mentioned, it's for a person that's been a part of our show, part of our lives, and part of your guys too. She's been part of the crew for now it seems like many years, and so she's going through a difficult time. And one thing that, as much as people always want to naysay on the wrestling community and saying, "Oh, you guys are a bunch of whiners, complainers," at the end of the day, too, we're all family. We're all interconnected because we love and we're passionate about this, and we all want to help each other out. So, guys, definitely help out. Like Jeff had mentioned before, it's for a good cause. We wouldn't say it if it wasn't worth it.
It definitely is. It's going to help somebody out.
Like that. It's for somebody who's really going through a difficult time right now. And the last thing we want to do is, as fans, we just want to put smiles. We want people to put smiles on our faces. Help put a smile on someone else's face, too.
And if anyone deserves a smile right now, it's her. Lisa, we got your back. We love you, your family. All right, guys, this has been a great show. Trendsetter, love you, everybody. Have a great 4th of July. Again, stay with us. We do this for one reason, Trendsetter, but that's your gig, so you do it.
Yeah, where were you getting there, man? I was about to slap you across the screen for some reason, getting that far ahead of me. Yeah, but like you said, have a 4th of July. Everyone's going to have a 4th of July. We just hope you all have a very happy and safe 4th of July. So, for the scoundrel Jeff Martin, I am the Trendsetter Bryan Burga. We are, and always have been, the Jersey Wrecking Crew. We thank you guys so much for watching this episode of the HSP Podcast. And remember, we do this for one reason, and one reason only. We do this for you, the crew.
Can I come over for the barbecue, Trendsetter?
No, you're not invited.
Oh, man.